Purse Power, quickly, you know this, Purse Power is working to help women use their massive purchasing power to drive positive change. We believe that if women who make 80% of all purchasing decisions would choose to buy from the companies that actively promote women, and we would do that in mass, and if we could create a funding stream for battered women's shelters, that we could shatter glass ceilings and change lives. So that's what Purse Power is trying to do. And the calls, we're just hoping to help you guys learn, connect with each other, just build a community here. All right, so let me go ahead and do Sallie's introduction. And if everybody go ahead and mute themselves and turn the camera off, I'll do the same when she takes over, okay? So Sallie is a sought after international speaker, best-selling author, lawyer, and a real estate broker. So she's done a lot of different things. She is a next strategist. She guides people to help them get rid of habits and behaviors that keep them from driving change. It helps them avoid their fears and phobias, the things that drain their power. She tackles limiting beliefs and decisions that no longer move you in the direction of your goals. She uses EFT, which is emotional freedom techniques. I'm sure she'll talk about that, and evolved NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, which is very effective. She also is a trauma-aware coach and consultant. Did you know that average Americans call it quits on their New Year's resolutions by February 1st? I really don't want to do that this year. Only 32 days in, and that 68% give up sooner than that. Our speaker today, she's here to help us avoid being one of those statistics, and she's going to share techniques that we can use to develop a system that will keep us focused on accomplishing our goals in 2022. It's okay. I'm going to hand it over to you, Sallie. And before you start the rest of your talk, would you please tell us a little bit about your background and how you arrived at this place in your life and career? Okay, so we're all going to go on silent, and we're all going to take our pictures off the screen. Okay.
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 So actually, that's part of my presentation. So if it's okay, I will go ahead and start the presentation, and that's kind of included.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So I'm going to share my screen, and I promise it's not going to be death by PowerPoint. It will be entertaining. So let's get going there. Okay. Famous words. Can everybody see my screen? Okay. So, awesome. Here we go. So, has life ripped a giant hole in the fabric of your reality? Sallie Wagner here. As you heard, I'm an author, a lawyer, a real estate broker, and an instructor. I provide broker and contract compliance consulting services to real estate brokerages throughout Florida. I'm the broker on call for about 2,500 plus real estate agents with over $6 billion in sales volume. I also have a real estate school providing Florida real estate educational opportunities. And I'm a life coach, your what's next strategist, your life alchemist. For 4 decades, I've studied and implemented transformational principles, and I've built systems and structures around those principles to guide you on your path to achieve your goals and get the results you want in your life. Those systems and structures include emotional freedom techniques, evolved neuro-linguistic programming, and trauma-aware modalities to help you launch into action and gain access to rapid, concrete results now, as you identify and get rid of habits, behaviors, fears, phobias, limiting beliefs, and decisions that hold you back. And you can check out my websites and my social media and learn most of that about me. So here's something you won't learn about me from those sources. 17 years ago this year, on International Talk Like a Pirate Day, my first husband died, and I killed him. Talk about a giant hole in your reality. Now, it doesn't say that as the cause of death. It doesn't say she did it, but I know it was me. You see, I fell asleep. We were keeping watch, and I fell asleep. Backing up from there, days before, he tells me how tired he is, and I know what he's telling me. He's too tired to go on. I tell him it's okay. If you need to go, you can go. He asks if the kids will be okay, if I'll be okay. And I lie, and I tell him, yes, we'll be okay. And I know that I killed him. If only I hadn't given him permission. If only I hadn't fallen asleep. If only. Each of us has a story of pain, of loss, of change, right? Dramatic changes, births, deaths, marriages, divorces, job change, relocation. Less dramatic, yet still significant change. I call it life creep. When you wake up one day and wonder what happened with your life, all of the many rips and tears in the fabric of our reality. When you lose someone, you lose part of yourself. That happens anytime you experience a major change in life, whether it's a dramatic change or life creep. My husband and I were married for almost 23 years. For 23 years, I had known myself in relation to him. And without him, I didn't know who I was anymore. Truth be told, I probably didn't know who I was before he died. Because for too long, quite possibly for my entire life, I had been living somebody else's life, a minor player in my own life, as if my life were planned and ruled by outside forces, by alien overlords. You know that feeling that despite your conscious choices, thoughts, feelings, beliefs, actions creep in that seem beyond your conscious control. And you find yourself thinking, feeling, doing things that you don't really want to think and feel and do. Why is that? It's because of apps, mind apps, paradigms, or alien overlords. You've heard about paradigms, right? That's what mind apps are. We all know what apps do to our phones and other devices. They slow things down, they drain the battery, they sometimes have competing purposes. Mind apps do the same things in our lives. They run your subconscious mind and control most of your behaviors, how you run your business, how you pursue your career, how you relate to people you work with, how you choose and achieve your goals, everything. Those apps live in your subconscious mind, which is like your operating system. Apps are the programming that determines the results you get in your life. Sometimes that programming competes with itself and you for control. Interestingly, your most important apps were installed before you could even consciously know or remember what was happening. The process continued as you grew older, learning to walk and learning to talk, learning to bathe yourself. Hard to imagine, but there was a time in your life when you couldn't do that. Who remembers learning to drive? So awkward at first, right? All the different things you needed to remember to do: steering wheel, rear view mirror, side mirrors, speedometer, turn signal. I think some people in Florida still haven't mastered that. Now you've installed the driving app so successfully, you don't even think about it. You drive, your mind wanders, and suddenly you've arrived without really remembering how you got there. And that really is a good thing. Otherwise, you'd spend every day relearning things that you had already learned. Unfortunately, not all of your apps were useful. They all started out as useful. At first, they served a purpose to help you and protect you and comfort you. Now, though, some of those apps may actually work against you and what you consciously want to achieve in your life. We've all had the experience of deciding to do or not do a particular thing, and then doing exactly that thing we decided we didn't want to do. How about this? You tell yourself, I'm not going to eat that piece of cake. And the next thing you know, you've eaten the cake. And you realize that part of you made a choice that you didn't consciously intend to make, and the cake is gone. It's not the cake's fault. For most of us, the cake isn't good or bad, it's just cake. The problem is the unconscious part of what happened. When you become conscious of the choices you have and the decisions you make, they really will be your choices and your decisions, and you'll be able to enjoy the cake and everything else in life. Okay, so you're probably thinking, well, that's all interesting, but what does it have to do with me and my life and my business and career goals? Wouldn't it be powerful to know why and how something within you sometimes makes decisions that override your conscious choices? Wouldn't it be even more powerful to know how to keep that from happening so that you can actually make conscious choices and act on them without interference from the alien overlords? Unfortunately, statistics and experience show that most of us are not very good at making choices and decisions and then taking consistent action based on those choices and decisions. 80% of us don't keep the New Year's resolutions that we set. Most resolutions, as you heard, are left behind by February 1st. Those statistics are pretty discouraging. And you're probably wondering, why is the success rate so low? It's because of the apps and how your brain functions, how all of our brains function and develop. From the delta wave level of brain activity you had as an infant, all the way up to the theta wave level when you were about 2, up to about 6 years old. The apps that were installed in your subconscious mind during that time include a lot of misconceptions you have about how the world works, about life in general, about yourself. Easy to see now how some of those apps that were installed before you were 7 years old don't really serve your adult self and your adult goals. When you were around 7, your brain moved to the alpha wave level, beta wave level when you were 12, which is where you now spend most of your waking moments. However, your subconscious, your powerful operating system is still running full blast. About 95 to 99% of the day, you operate from your subconscious mind. The rest of the day, only 1 to maybe at most 5% of the day, you actually control things with your own intentions, desires, beliefs that you hold in your conscious mind. All those apps, which by the way, continue to be installed and updated based upon your particular life events. Those apps are how your subconscious mind sabotages all those wonderful intentions you hold in your conscious mind. So during times of stress, anxiety, worry, when we're busy running our lives and our businesses and our careers, which seems like pretty much all the time, right? We run on autopilot. We revert to our default settings, our manufacturer settings. Anybody else busy like that? So does anybody really believe that I killed my husband? No, I don't either, not now, but I did. And I carried that belief and that guilt with me for a long time, and it held me back from living my life. Now I know it's not true. And that's the crux of it. It's not what you don't know that holds you back. It's what you do know that's not true that holds you back. Here's another one that I used to know that's not true. I have to be perfect. Anybody else have that one? Clearly it's not true, but I used to know it, and it held me back from so many things in life. Because if I have to be perfect and I know I'm not going to be perfect at something, then I just won't do it. You see how the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves make such a difference. They either move you forward or hold you back, depending upon what you tell yourself. What stories are you telling yourself? Are they true? Or are you telling yourself stories that are not true? Remember, it's not what you don't know that holds you back. So many times, the solution to our challenges is not to learn more, not to learn what we don't know. The solution is to unlearn what we know that's not true. What do you know that's not true, that's holding you back? And why do we know things that are not true? It's because of apps, programming from our families, society, the world that tells us things that are not true, and we believe it. We're constantly bombarded with messages that you have to be a certain way, look a certain way, wear certain clothes, own certain cars to be worthy, to be loved. We're constantly told we're too much this or not enough that. All those messages, all that programming holds us back from living the life that makes us come alive. So how do you reboot those apps, uninstall them, and install new apps that will help you beat those discouraging statistics and make conscious choices in life? The first step is to recognize that everything is a choice, your choice. All you have to do is take the first step and decide to live the life that makes you come alive. So there I was. My first husband had died. Mercifully, time passed. You've heard the saying that time heals all wounds. Let me tell you, that's absolute crap. Time does not heal all wounds. Time doesn't mend those rips in our reality. Time doesn't heal. How we use time either heals or doesn't heal. When we're purposeful and intentional about healing, we heal. We can't just wait it out. Big mistake on my part. Nevertheless, time passed and my kids and I pieced our lives back together. We started to repair those rips in our reality. My kids grew up, I grew up, they got married, I got remarried. And yet I was still living somebody else's life. There was still that voice inside me asking, where did I go wrong? Where did I get off track? My husband, he's from Germany, he says, should this be all there is? When I was a child, I always wanted to be a teacher, like some of you. In college, I majored in theology. I started in physics, ended up in metaphysics, planned to become a professor of theology. Then I met my first husband. The first night we met, he said, you should be a lawyer. Guess what? I'm a lawyer. I spent my career living somebody else's vision for my life. It looked pretty good on paper, but it felt pretty yucky inside. Always out of place in my own skin, in the life that was chosen and created for me by the alien overlords. Always wondering where I went wrong. Then I had this vivid dream. I saw myself teaching, like my earlier vision for my life. A plane was flying overhead, and it made a deliberate U-turn and headed back the way it had just come. And I heard this old song from the 70s, Right Back Where We Started From by Maxine Nightingale. And I just knew it was telling me to get back to where I started as a teacher. This time I listened. I recalibrated my focus, concentrated on teaching opportunities. Everything changed to the point where I had to scale back. You do get what you ask for, yet the universe still wasn't done with me. It never is, right? Months later, I was watching a program about life coaching, and I thought, that sounds interesting. Maybe I should look into it. And then I thought, I don't know how to do that. I couldn't write my own programs. I don't have time. I wouldn't even know where to start. Months after that, I was stranded by the side of the road, waiting for AAA, scrolling through my phone. Life coaching popped up on my feed. I listened again, and I answered my calling to live the life that makes me come alive. It was scary to make that commitment. Yet I knew if I didn't, I would cease to live, not die, just not live. I made the decision to change. As soon as I did, a part of me argued for why I couldn't, why it wasn't a good time, why it wasn't convenient. I was already running multiple businesses. How could I take on even more? Yet another part of me knew that great opportunities never show up when it's convenient or when it's comfortable. Great things occur on the other side of what's comfortable. So I made the decision to let the part of me that wanted to come alive win over the part of me that was afraid. And how did I get to that point where all of this was happening? How am I now seemingly magically living this life that makes me come alive? Really by trial and error, and perhaps a bit of magic and alchemy. Now I know that there are actual steps I could have taken that would have accelerated all this for me. I could have taken the shortcut rather than the scenic route. Now I know, and I've created a protocol to guide you to create and take your own shortcut. Before we get there, let's do a quick experiment so you can see how powerful your mind is when you consciously focus that power. So everybody, we're going to do this together. Match your hands and fingers together. Is one bigger, fingers longer on one hand than the other? Now don't do this until I tell you. Okay, we'll do it all together. We're going to make that smaller hand grow. We're going to look at it. We're going to focus on it. We're going to speak words to it firmly, powerfully, confidently. We're going to say grow 10 times. All together, ready, go. Grow, 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 grow. Now, match them together again. Which one is bigger now? Did anybody have a change? Wouldn't it be powerful to direct that force of your mind to making decisions and choices in your life, to getting the results you want in your life, in your business? In my coaching programs, I take people through a process to do that. As I mentioned, it includes EFT, emotional freedom techniques, and evolved NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, to harness and focus the power of your mind even more and accelerate you on your path to getting the results you want to see in your life. One of my most popular programs is called Reboot Your Thinking, how to install and uninstall mind apps. Remember, mind apps are paradigms. Today, I'm sharing 3 simple concepts that will kickstart that process for you to begin to reboot your thinking and live the life that makes you come alive. It's really 3 by 3, 3 sets of 3 things to remember. And the first set of 3 is MSG, mindset, skill set, get off your asset. We start with mindset, which includes your programming, your mind apps. A big part of mindset is the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves. When you become aware of your mindset, you can reboot your thinking. You can begin to uninstall those mind apps by changing the stories you tell yourself about yourself. Mindset isn't just thinking happy thoughts like Peter Pan. There's much more to it than that. That is false optimism. Mindset is more realistic. realistic faith in your ability to persevere no matter what. So let's talk about some steps you can take to build and strengthen your mindset. We start with your mental faculties. There are 6. We're going to talk about 3: perception, will, and reason. First is perception. Who remembers the story of the blind men and the elephant? Each of them felt and experienced a different part of the elephant, trunk, tail, tusks, and so on. And so each of them defined it in a different way. They were all right, and they were also all wrong because their perceptions were incomplete. Your perception is always incomplete, and it will either move you forward or hold you back, depending upon what you tell yourself. We all know Henry Ford's famous statement. So ask yourself, what is your perception of yourself? What are you telling yourself about yourself? Do you like the story you're telling yourself, or would you prefer a different story? Guess what? For better or worse, you have chosen that story, which means if you don't like it, you can choose a different one, a better one. That's perception. Next is your will. This isn't willpower. If it's a matter of willpower, you've already lost the battle. We know that from those statistics we saw earlier, right? Your will is your ability to focus, like when we focused on making our hands grow. You've heard where there's a will, there's a way. The truth is, when you focus your will, you'll see the way. The right focus is important because it changes your center of power from your outside circumstances over you to your inside reality over those circumstances. So exercise your will. Shift your focus to your inner reality for yourself, for your goals, for your future. We'll talk more about that with skill set. So that's will. And last, we have reason, your ability to think, which brings the concepts of perception and will together. Most people think about the wrong thing. They think about their current external circumstances. They define themselves in relation to those circumstances. They react based on those circumstances. And so they're controlled by those circumstances. Successful people focus, this is your will, they focus on the circumstances they're creating and define themselves in relation to those new circumstances. That's your perception. And that puts you in control so you can respond to your current circumstances rather than react. Focus your thoughts on the results you want and define yourself in relation to them, not in relation to the results you currently see. That's reason, putting perception and will into practice. Perception, will, reason, all these and more, this is mindset. It all starts with mindset. However, most of the time, we need to take some steps to get the right mindset. And that's where skill set comes in. Your skill set can help you harness the power of the right mindset. With skills, think about stacking them, having and developing several skills that deepen and broaden your abilities. Skills like positive, clear communication skills. These will develop as you hone your will and your reason. And that will lead to more positive, productive relationships. And here's the next skill to focus on. As we said, most people define themselves by the results they see in their lives. Their thoughts, feelings, actions are determined by those results, which means they get more of the same and nothing changes. In order to change, you start with the results you want. Define yourself by the results you want, and then take action based on those results. When you do that, everything changes. In other words, you start with your goals. Goals are important because when we set goals for ourselves, we can potentially change our thinking, which can affect mindset. And as you gain clarity around your goals, you'll be able to communicate about them and everything else in a more positive way. So let's talk about 3 guidelines you can use to set goals. Make it big, ask the right questions, be specific. The first principle of goal building is make it big. Are your goals big enough? Why do we sometimes set goals that are too small, goals that are not worthy of us? Maybe because we believe we're not worthy. You're probably telling yourself, of course I believe I'm worthy. But remember, it's not what you don't know that holds you back. Those mind apps, those things that we know that are not true, show up in subtle ways. They show up in small ways, in how we treat ourselves every day, in how we affirm our worth. So be generous with yourself in time and money and commitment to your own development. Value yourself, affirm your worth, and set big goals. The second principle of goal building is ask questions, the right questions. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of the questions you're willing to ask. Ask the hard questions. You've heard of the 7 levels approach? Well, let me tell you, 7 levels is just a start. Instead, think of it as an infinite onion, and you're continuously peeling off layers, a never-ending quest to get to the core. And here's the first layer. Ask yourself, are you successfully discontent? Like me, does it look good on paper, yet doesn't feel as good as you thought it would or think it should? Are you holding on to limiting beliefs and decisions as tightly as we hold on to those jeans at the back of the closet? Now, ask yourself the next question. What makes you come alive? That's the question you must ask, because your goals should represent what you really want, not what somebody else wants for you, not what somebody else thinks you should do, not even what you think you should do. We hide in the questions we don't ask. We allow others to hide in the questions we don't ask. There's no hiding here. Keep asking the hard questions. Use your will to shift your focus to your inner reality to discover the answers to those questions. Questions like, why is a particular thing important to you? Is it important because you deem it to be worthy of you? Or is it because somebody told you it should be important? Or how about this? In a year or 2 or 3, when you look back, what do you think you will wish you had done? What will you regret not doing? And speaking of regret, Bonnie Ware worked for many years with people who were dying. Based on that work, she compiled a list, and she's written extensively, of the top 5 regrets of people at the end of their lives. The most common regret is, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. As people looked back over their lives with the clarity that comes from facing their own mortality, they realized that they hadn't lived out their dreams. And they also realized that it was because of their own choices. Many of us experience regrets throughout our lives, not only at the end of our lives. According to Kathy Caprino, one of the top 5 regrets expressed by mid-level professionals around the world is, I wish I hadn't listened to other people about what I should study and pursue. That sounds remarkably like the top regret of people at the end of life. You see, it's not only people who are dying, people at any stage of life, people who are not living also experience that same type of regret, like that feeling I experienced, the sense that I was living somebody else's life when I was a supporting actor in my own life rather than the star of the show. Fortunately, we don't need to wait until the end of life to start living it. Many people have experienced the phenomenon of post-traumatic growth. Rather than being stuck in the trauma of their particular life events, they're propelled into personal growth and understandings that significantly mirror the top 5 regrets of the dying, only in a positive way. So rather than regretting that they lived the life that was expected of them, they have a newfound sense of meaning and purpose. They're able to focus on their own goals and dreams rather than living out the dreams and goals of others. And again, fortunately, we don't need to wait until we face trauma to experience the wisdom of this awakening. We can harness the benefits of personal growth through building resilience in 4 areas of life: physical, emotional, mental, and social. As we develop resilience in those 4 areas, we live out the learnings of post-traumatic growth, and we actually live longer. Talk about a powerful mindset and a powerful skill set, a longer life in years and a richer life in quality as we live the life that makes us come alive. Okay, one more question you should ask yourself as part of this exercise. This is my favorite. Who are you when you're not doing what you do? When you're not pursuing your career, building your business, being a parent, a child, a spouse, a partner? Who are you when you're not doing that? Russell Brand says that we are all in recovery to recover the person we are intended to be. So ask the hard questions, peel away those layers to recover who you are intended to be and discover the life that makes you come alive. And our last point in goal building, be as specific as possible in stating your goals. If you don't specify, the universe will fill in the blanks and you may not get the results you intend. Remember, words matter. We've all heard the joke about the guy who wishes for $1 million and suddenly he's surrounded by deer. Don't be that guy. So to bring this all together and illustrate the importance of big goals, asking questions in the right way, and being specific, I'm going to share a couple of stories. So in the southwest part of Germany, where my husband is from, Luxembourg, France, and Germany all come together. The river Mosel flows from France and becomes the border between Luxembourg and Germany. Before the European Union, the borders were closed. There were checkpoints in the middle of the bridges crossing the river. Gerhard lived in Germany and worked in Luxembourg. Each morning he hopped on the bicycle, put a big bag of sand on his shoulder, rode the bicycle to work. Henri was the border guard. Each morning he stopped Gerhard, searched the sand, convinced that Gerhard was smuggling something. Henri never found anything. Years went by. The European Union came in, the borders went down, Henri was out of a job. One day he saw Gerhard. He said, all those years ago, I knew you were smuggling something. I was never able to find it. Now it doesn't matter. So tell me, what was it? Any guesses? Gerhard said, bicycles. Henri was so convinced there was something in the bags of sand, he never even considered the bicycles. How many bicycles have we overlooked? Okay, next story. We all know about David and Goliath, right? Let's think about their story in ways in which you maybe haven't thought about it before. And I apologize to biblical scholars here. I'm going to take some liberties to illustrate my points. Picture it. War between the Philistines and the Israelites. One day, Jesse, David's father, tells David, get somebody to watch the sheep. I want you to go to the front and take food to your brothers. David goes. Something interesting has been happening at the front. For 40 days, morning and night, one of the Philistines has been coming out of the ranks and shouting a message over to the Israelites. Here's the message Goliath has been shouting. Let's do this war differently. Let's change the rules. Instead of all of you fighting all of us, one of you fight me. If you beat me, we'll all serve you. However, if I beat you, you'll all serve us. Nobody wants to do it. This is the situation when David gets to the front. We've perhaps had this idea that David is so brave. When he sees the problem, he says, I'll fight the giant. Maybe not. Imagine David arrives. He sees the giant. Terrified, he runs to the camps up in the hills. Yet in the camps, he learns something interesting. The king has made an offer. Whoever fights and beats the giant will marry the king's daughter, the princess. He'll have land, money, horses. Neither he nor his descendants will ever pay taxes again. At this point, everything changes for David. Now he has a goal, the princess, land, money, horses, no taxes. So he goes to King Saul. He says, I got this. I'll fight the giant. The king says, then you better put on my armor. David tries it on. He says, no, not me. I'm a shepherd. I use a sling. The moment arrives. David takes one of the stones he gathers. He takes the sling. Bam! He hits the giant right here. The giant falls over. David takes the giant's own sword. He cuts the giant's head off with the giant's own sword. And David is victorious. So why was David successful while Henri wasn't? After all, each was focused on the big specific goal, right? Each asked questions about how to get to the goal. Here's the key. Henri's focus was too narrow. His goal was to discover what Gerhard was smuggling, yet the question he asked himself was, what is Gerhard smuggling in the sand? You see, the question he asked didn't match his goal. If he had asked the broader question, what is Gerhard smuggling? Maybe he would have seen the bicycles, but he expected to find something in the sand. So the bicycles got filtered out of his awareness. He never even considered them. David, on the other hand, was focused on his goal in a wider sense. What happened when he said he would fight the giant? The king offered him his armor, yet David didn't wear it. Instead, he went to battle armed with a sling. What do you picture when you think of armor? Knights fighting, hand-to-hand combat? Yeah, that's what everybody else in Saul's camp thought too, asking themselves the question, how can I defeat the giant in hand-to-hand combat? Clearly, the answer to that question is, I can't. David didn't see that because he asked himself a different question. He asked, how can I defeat the giant? When he asked that question, he saw the opportunity that everybody else missed. Archaeological evidence tells us that the sling was more accurate, more deadly at a greater distance than a bow and arrow. which means you don't have to engage in hand-to-hand combat. You can fight from a distance, which is a pretty important consideration when you're going to battle with a giant. Everybody else saw the giant, saw the armor, and saw defeat. David saw the opportunity, saw his sling, and he saw victory. It's not enough to focus on your goal. You must also harness the power that comes from asking the right questions about how to get there, because the quality of our lives is determined by the quality of the questions we're willing to ask. Okay, we've talked about mindset and skill set. Now we're ready to take action. It's time to get off our assets. Once you identify your goals, you're ready to move forward with them. However, be prepared. What comes next is what stops most people before they ever get started. As they start to manifest a new mindset, they get stopped by fear. Fear can show up as indecision, distraction, self-sabotage. And because fear is a mind app, it can be subtle. It doesn't announce that it's here to keep you from achieving your goals and living the life that makes you come alive. It's the voice of reason. It says things like, how am I going to do that? I've never done that before. Now's not a good time. Should I really be doing this? Maybe I should try that path over there. I can't do that. Have you heard those voices or others like that? I remember 2 or 3 years ago, I heard a successful real estate agent talking about her success. And someone asked what her motivation was. Her answer, fear. And I cringed inside for 2 reasons. First, I thought, if my motivation were fear, I don't think I would announce it to a room full of people. And second, I felt sorry. I'm paraphrasing. Pardon me. I apologize. I'm paraphrasing, but the Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith says, we are often pushed by fear until we are pulled by the vision of the life we are called to create for ourselves. Don't be that person who is pushed by fear. Allow yourself to be pulled by the vision of the life you are called to create for yourself. We have to overcome that fear that holds us back, and that takes faith. I apologize for my voice. Faith in your ability to achieve your goals and take action. Realistic faith that you will prevail. It comes down to fear or faith, and you choose. It's all about deciding, making a commitment to and for yourself. It's that decision, that start, that stops most people. So decide, take action, use, don't just sit on your assets. That's our first set of 3, MSG. Now, bonus time, our second set of 3 easy steps you can use to create a system and launch into action and get off your assets. Interestingly, taking action is an enormously important skill in and of itself. Anybody know a procrastinator? First, decide on your goals. Who has goals for their lives? Did you know that 80% of Americans don't have goals for their lives? Just thinking about your goals puts you in the top 20%, and you increase your chances of success to 43%. But goals alone won't get you there. You need a reliable system. Here's another important skill, creating systems and processes that support those goals. This is where realistic faith comes into play. The step-by-step, day-by-day action and determination that get you where you want to be, not some optimistic vision of magically achieving the results you want to see in your life. That's like thinking you'll win the lottery. Without the system and the daily steps, those goals are just nice pictures on that vision board you made. So here's the first step in your system to take action. Write your goals down, and you increase your chances of success to 56%. Simple, right? Second step in your system to take action, share your goals with somebody. Share them with family, friends, a goal buddy, somebody. Why don't we share our goals? Any guesses? Because we're afraid we'll fail, right? I'm not going to tell anybody I'm on a diet because what if I don't lose the weight I want to lose? What if I don't go on that fabulous vacation I've been thinking about? What if? Kind of like all my if onlys, right? Who here has failed? Has anybody not failed? Failure is part of the system. It's a tool, not an outcome. It's a resource to be managed, just like all the other resources in your life. When you manage it properly, and make it part of your system, you'll find your success. So harness the power of failure. As Scott Adams says, grab it around the throat and squeeze until it coughs up that fur ball of success. Take the additional step of identifying action steps to take toward your goals, and you increase your chances of success to 64%. And the third step in your system to take action is to make weekly progress reports to that goal buddy. This is the accountability factor. When you do that, you increase your chances of success to 76%. So who else is impressed with those statistics? That's our second set of three, providing the framework, the infrastructure for you to build your own unique system to launch into action and get the results you want to see in your life. Jack Canfield says, 99% commitment is a bitch, 100% commitment is a breeze. 99% commitment is so hard. It's filled with excuses, reasons not to take the steps that will lead to our goals. I'm tired, hit the snooze, I'm busy, I'll get to it later. 100% commitment is so easy. No questions, no excuses, no reasons, just doing. Following your system every day moving in the direction of your goals. It always comes down to reasons or results, right? So commit yourself 100%, starting with MSG. Mindset, change your mindset to one of success. Skill set, learn and practice the skills to move you forward in your success. Get off your assets by taking action to bring that success into the landscape of your reality. You have to take action to achieve your goals. Awareness without action creates nothing. Action is still necessary, and the right mindset will empower you to take the right action and make that 100% commitment to you. Mindset, skill set, get off your asset, and the greatest of these is mindset. So, where are you on your journey through life? Are you living with regret, or are you building resilience? What if, instead of if only, which leads to a life of regret? What if you decide? What if you take that first step? What if you live the life that makes you come alive? No more if only, no more what if. It's your choice. What will you choose as you move into 2022? My invitation to you, this is our last set of three. First, take my 21-day mindset challenge. For 21 days, manifest a mindset for the results you want to see in your life. Report back to your accountability partner each week on your progress over the next 21 days. That simple accountability factor, along with the other steps we talked about, can increase your success rate up to 76%. Second, take my 21-day skill set challenge. Set or update your big specific goals by asking yourself the right questions. Ask yourself the hard questions about your career, your business, your goals, your life. Questions like, who are you when you're not doing what you do? Who are you when you're not doing that? Next, create reliable systems to move you in the direction of your goals. Again, report to your accountability partner each week on your progress over the next 21 days. And third, take action by putting formal systems and support structures in place. Systems like coaching. Your first step is to schedule your complimentary initial consultation with me so you can experience the power of EFT and ENLP. I block time for a certain number of these sessions each month, and I've designated spots in January for people who are here today. So let me know right away that you'd like one. We'll talk one-on-one, take EFT and NLP for a spin, and together discover your unique MSG so you can begin to adorn, decorate, celebrate that giant rip in your reality as you step into the life and business you choose and create for yourself. When would now be a good time to start? Thank you for allowing me to speak with you today. I wish you great success and joy in 2022. And I will stop my share.
Okay, perfect. Okay, you guys go ahead and get off, get on camera is what I was trying to say, actually. Do you have any questions that you want to ask Sallie? And I'd love to hear your thoughts about what you learned today. Yeah, Sally, I've got big dreams, but putting the operational systems in place is what I've got to work on. That's the
Yeah.
learning that I got out of it.
But those systems, that's what gets you there, you know? Yeah.
Yep. How about you guys? Any thoughts?
Nice case. I have a question. Sally, thank you very much. That was really, really interesting, really good. And I wanted to ask about, you were talking about results. That's what shows you that you're getting where you want to be. But it's also if you have big dreams and the results take time to manifest. So what's happening in between? How do you know you're moving in the right direction? And that you're actually, changing your subconscious and so on, and that you're actually making the progress.
Yeah. So I think that goes back to the systems and the processes. Because we can take those daily steps and know that we are moving in the right direction. And as we make it part of everything that we do every day, you'll see the results. For example, one of my big things that I worked on was grocery store rage. Does anybody have that? You go to the grocery store and the line just takes forever. And it's like, oh my gosh, do these people have to talk? We're just buying groceries. It's not a relationship. and I would just get impatient and angry. And I'm like, that's not me. That's not who I want to be. And so as I worked on that every day, it's amazing what change I've seen. And because I broke it down into small steps, so it's like, okay, what triggers me? And as I break it into the small steps that I can do every single day, I see the change. And now it's amazing. It's like, I go to the grocery store, stand in line, I talk to people, I'm pleasant, I don't feel impatient. And it's almost like the parking spot angel, right? Because it's like almost every single time I go there, there's a lane that's clear and I don't even have to wait. And so it's like the universe was telling me, you got to work on this, and so it was giving me opportunity after opportunity to work on it. And then when I resolved it, now the lanes are clear. So I guess that, what I said, just develop the system and the process to know that you're working on it every single day. And you see the results.
It's interesting, Case. I think I'm in a similar kind of position. We've got big dreams, but how do you know you're tracking, right? Is that the question that you're asking, Case?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So I'm sorry, maybe I misunderstood. So that's part of goal setting to the present. So it's like, you look at those big goals because you've got to keep your eyes on the big goals, right? And sometimes we get so focused on that, we lose our place. We don't know where we're headed. And so you work backward from the goal and you go, okay, well, what do I need to do this year? And what do I need to do this quarter? And what do I need to do this month? So you break it down to your 411 so that you get to the daily level. Here's what I need to do today to meet my goals for the week, for the month, for the quarter, for the year. And I know I'm moving in the right direction. Is you just set up those dominoes. Does that?
Yeah. Daily, monthly, weekly, quarterly.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
But you work backward.
Yeah.
So it's goal setting to the present. So here's my goal. What do I need? What step do I need to take today that is going to move me in that direction?
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. Any final thoughts, guys? We got like 2 minutes. I think this was really timely. I needed the information, so thank you. How about you guys? Yeah? Okay. All right. Very good. All right. I want to tell you what's coming up. Thank you again, Sally. Terrific job. Sure appreciate it. Why don't you go ahead and put your website or your contact information in the chat if you would, okay?
All right.
All right, guys. So on January 7th, we've got Judy Hoberman coming. She is a sales leadership trainer and coach. She wrote the book called Selling in a Skirt, and she is highly successful, very, very engaging. I think you guys are going to enjoy listening to her. On January 14th, I've got Jessica Miller-Merrill coming. She is a Twitter expert and also the founder of Workology. And then Nan McKay, you guys know Nan, she's been on our show several times. She's going to be talking about her new book, Gold in the Golden Years, which ought to be terrific. And that's on the 21st. And then on the 28th, of course, we've got our networking. Please sign up for a directory listing if you haven't. I want to let you know, I brought this up last time. I'm going to be doing a soft launch on some new training. So I've got to make a living too, guys. And so there's some training I'm going to be doing about called the Lead Machine for coaches and consultants. And I'm going to do a test run of it on Thursday, the 13th, if you'd like to join us. And it's about how to build a power network. So people have told me over and over again, the thing I'm great at is connecting with people. So I want to teach other people how to do that so you can connect with the clients that you want, get the leads you want, and charge you what you think you're worth. Let's see here. We're good. Please download the Google Chrome extension off of our website, and it'll show you the companies that are in our database. Use the directory to buy from women-owned and women-led companies. I hope you like and share our social media pages, and that you tell people about these sessions on Fridays. You guys said you wanted them to be more interactive, so we're going to try this kind of mixed media approach going forward. Any final words of wisdom, comments, anything from anyone? Sallie, anything else anybody wants to say?
Just build your resilience, those 4 areas.
Yeah, that's really important. All right, you guys, well, have a happy new year. I hope you come next Friday. We are going to have a terrific speaker. Hope to see you then, and have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you. Remember, purse power, we have it. Let's use it. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Sorry. Bye.
Blessed New Year. Yes.
You too. You too. Take care.
Perfect topic today. So thank you, Sallie.
Thank you.